I closed that last deal to close 10k, like I was just kind of sitting there and I got like a slightly bit emotional because like there's a lot of work that leads up to having a week like that, like over a year, 2 years, even before high ticket sales. Because like I dropped out of college, I did all kinds of shit for years, didn't know what I was doing. I kind of wasted like probably the years between 18 to 23, like just dicking around, drinking, like, you know, coasting through life. So yeah, I was pretty proud of myself, to be honest.
I just left the military, so I had zero stability in terms of income, and I got let go from a closing role inside of the program that I coached in. So it was like everything hit at once, and then leaving and not having any income. I think I made like $3,000 in December by itself.
How much did you end up making this month?
So this month I made $30,240.
Sweet.
Yeah, which is fucking insane.
And that's the least you've ever made in that.
Oh yeah. So I was a Russian linguist. I worked in intelligence. It sounds way more interesting than it is. It's just sat in like a windowless room all day listening to Ruski speak.
That's all we do now. Sit in a room and just speak to people.
Yeah, but I make 10 times the money, so it's not too bad.
I think the easiest thing I could have done was just lie to myself and keep making like 4k as a closer. Thing for me got to a stage, like especially with my son being born, like he was on the way before I joined the program as well. Like I didn't have time to just keep lying to myself. I just had to be honest. Like I have to learn from people that are better than me.
I hadn't made more than like 4k in a single month. I joined STS in January, and then literally a month after that I hit more than double what I had already done previously. So I went from 3k all the way to 9k, and then just this month I almost hit the 10k. Like I always saw a sale before joining SES. I just like this question and this question and this question, and that will magically lead to a sale, right? But when I joined SES, the first thing, I just watched all your calls over and over again, and what I saw was the sale came from aligning them to the person that they needed to be in order to achieve the outcome.
Gangsters of YouTube, welcome back. It's a pleasure to see you. Hope everything's a-okay. Hope you're blessed. Hope your family's blessed. Hope everybody's doing a-okay and life's good and you make a ton of money. But if you're not, let me show you how we can change that. So what we have for you here today is what I like to call a motherfucking move it. The reason I'm calling it that is because we're going to have a couple of our members come in and share their experiences since working with me so far. I'm going to get them to share some of their experiences, what helped, what they learned, how things changed, and I'm also going to get them to share a clip of some of the stuff that they've taken from my group and how they've been able to apply it. So that's why I'm going to call it Move It. Now, the whole reason I set the group up is, yes, not just to help people make more money as a sales rep, but the reason it's called Set the Standard is because you have a vision of what you want to become and who you want to be and the money you kind of want to make. But to step into it is a little bit difficult. So why I set the group up is because I'm pretty congruent with that kind of behavior. I always improve mentally, I make sure I'm on top of my finances, and I'm always on top of my physical shape. So when you come into this, I can show you how to step into that identity, how to become the person that you actually want to become, and how to live a life that you genuinely feel you deserve. That's the whole point of the group. So I'm going to run you through this. Hopefully you stick around long enough to hear some of the good stuff and get to it. We're introducing the main man, the Irish man, the guy that's going to be the top of the leaderboard on Ads team this month. Tell us a bit about who you are and what you kind of do.
So I'm obviously a high ticket closer working in AI, build a business in a box kind of offer. Obviously was very fortunate to get in on it. You just hooked me up. Probably no better way to get an offer than someone just text you saying, do you want on, and then a contract sent, like in no interview, nothing. I don't think you can get that from many other places. So that's what I'm doing now. I had a pretty good first month, but now like really looking to make the most of the opportunity here and like see how much I can actually rinse out of it.
What was the biggest help that you kind of acquired from me aside from the offer itself?
The biggest thing I've taken away from it, I've said this to a few people like that I've been talking about outside of this. I think you said it on one of the coaching calls, is like when you enter into the call, it's like try and figure out what they need from you to be able to move forward. And then that's why like now the framework that you've given us makes so much more sense, because it's just like a tool belt. So like in that first 5-10 minutes, you're just kind of figuring out like what's stopping this person from being where they want to be, going where they want to go, doing the things that they want to do, and then doing the conversation around that, rather than just having like a specific way you run a sales call and ripping it like that.
I think you previously had gone through another community, if I'm not mistaken. In your mind, was there any particular hesitations, or was there anything in the back of your mind that kind of maybe sabotaged you joining, or second thoughts?
No, no. I knew I needed to invest again, and obviously I knew someone inside, and from what I'd heard about it, like I was just ready to go. I got burnt before, like back in like 2020. I spent like 8K in like a real estate program that was, it was a pile of shite, and I lost all of it. And it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because like, yes, you lose it, and you talk about this sour taste in your mouth. Like it affected me for a while. I was like, that's entrepreneurship done. I get a job, work your way up, all that kind of stuff. But then you build the money back up, and then you realize like, okay, it's not the end of the world. You can just try again. It's like it's like wanting to go to a roulette table and only be willing to roll the dice until you lose, right? If you lose in the first one, then that's it. Can never win money here.
When you put that 10K commission week or whatever, or he put something in the chat. Do you remember? Like he put a win in the chat.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I was super proud of you and stuff like that. That I'm assuming that must have been like a big shift for you.
100%. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like when I hit 10K in a week, I got when I closed that last deal to close 10K, like I was just kind of sitting there, and I got like a slightly bit emotional, because like there's a lot of work that leads up to having a week like that, like over a year, 2 years, even before high ticket sales. Because like I dropped out of college, I did all kinds of shit for years, didn't know what I was doing. I kind of wasted like probably the years between 18 to 23, like just dicking around, drinking, like, you know, coasting through life. So yeah, I was pretty proud of myself, to be honest.
You did a one call closing, but didn't you, motherfucker?
Yeah, that was good. But to be fair, he was he was an easy prospect. Like we get on really well. He's making 750K a year, as like an investment banker. So I actually had a good feeling that he would close on the call. You know, he had a mindset coach, so he's like made that shift into an entrepreneurial headspace. He had a little hesitancy at the end, but I basically just told him he needs to do it. He was like, he just kind of hesitated a little bit at the very end. You could just see he kind of drew his breath, and then he mentioned something about the reason that he made this shift was because he talks to his kids about going after, you know, like getting after it in life, like saying you can do anything. And he feels like he's a little bit underachieving with what he's doing in his corporate role.
So this, for example, on this is a 25K PIF, one call close.
Mm-hmm. And him and his wife also have like rental property, so they're probably clearing $1 million a year.
A normal rep, how would they approach that situation, or how would they be able to handle a guy at that level?
I think, yeah, a normal rep would probably just run through the same script or framework that they always do, trying to really make them feel the pain. Whereas this, I kind of, you know, just knew the touch points I needed, and maybe not have had maybe the balls to challenge them a little bit, right? And it's not outright like just calling them out and being, you know, but it's, you have to do it in a way where they respect where you're coming from.
You know how to play it off really well, though. I've seen it.
Yeah. So there's sometimes it doesn't land, but like I just throw a joke in, or I'll move on to another question, and it's all right.
I know for a fact most reps, like they hear a guy making 750 grand a year, and it's just like, holy fuck, I have no idea what to do.
To be fair, right? On the last offer that I was on, like when I had sales reps doing way more than me, I would shit the bed in a little bit, right? If they come on there and I'm already at 10, 12K a month, I'm looking for more freedom. I'm like, oh, fuck, Jesus, I wish I was this guy.
Why are you so much more confident now, though?
I think some of it comes, I think there's two elements of it. Like one of them, I think that's helped me on this offer, which is actually from outside this. Like I worked in the States and like dealing with these kinds of people for like an awful long time. So I've just used to talking to them. But the other side as well is I don't feel like, I think I felt like I was competing against them, like in terms of like as a person, right? And the old offer was high ticket close, and what the money they were making is very almost against what I'm making. Whereas with these guys, if they're making 750K a year, great. It's not got nothing to do with what I'm doing. And I just know if it all was sunshine and rainbows, they wouldn't be here, right? Because it's obviously not enough in some sort of capacity. There's a couple of little things that I probably wouldn't have done before joining you, like things I would have asked around his kid. Like I just I gave him a light challenge, like in the beginning, like when he spoke about what he does versus what he wants his kids to do, and I was like, that's very incongruent, right? And then he was like, no, you're right. I think sometimes with these leads it just needs to be subtle little things rather than a big like reframe or anything like that, you know.
We'll share the clip real quick.
I know, man. Okay. All right. Well, what's the next steps, man?
What do you want to do? Want to get rolling?
He's laughing because of the confidence that you said that in. That's massive.
definitely interested. I'm leaning towards Launchpad. Starting now, like I know the first 30 days is kind of like the build and the ramp up. Maybe that's good timing, but I'm also I want to go full speed, so I'm just trying to think of what is the right time.
I think here as well, something that I did well is like I let him play it out in his mind, everything, instead of interjecting and trying to close him or trying to reframe him there. I just let him brain dump, think it out.
I had this conversation with Marco earlier because Marco shared something very similar, like the silence that people sit in. That's one thing that I always tell people to do, like just relax and sit back. Let people come to their own conclusions, and then if they need the help for you to push them a little bit further, give them that little bit of a nudge. But the minute you start going for the throat is the minute that they start throwing up resistance and don't really want to listen to you anymore. They just kind of shut down. So being silent and being relaxed is a skill set in its fucking self. So it takes a lot in your mind to kind of sit there and just relax and let them come to their own conclusions. That's really good as well. It's a good point that it's good that you pointed that out.
And I think also I can't see it there, but I'm sitting at the other end of that smiling like I know he's going to do it. And I think you can feel that.
I want to go full speed, so I'm just trying to think of when's the right time. Is it now or is it later?
What would the entrepreneur 6 months down the road making 50K a month?
Yeah, probably go now and get after.
If we want to be that entrepreneur, the guy that his kids look up to, that is about what he says, we roll with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then he just
well, actually,
then basically what he
Then
just
I
ends
actually
up
went for this.
doing,
Yeah,
pipping up that.
yeah, I went with the satisfactory guarantee because I forgot about that. I actually forget about it a lot.
Yeah. That's really good though, because the identity shift is, like I said, the most powerful fucking thing in the world. And it's been able to speak to somebody at that level. Like, you've got him cooked there with that. Well, is there anything else you want to share? I appreciate you jumping on, gangster.
Probably just a big thanks, like for everything. Honestly, like from the support, because I think that's the one thing as well. Like, even being able to when I had that like midway through this month, like, you know, even though I did 10 grand in a week, like it wasn't going so pretty for the first like week and a half, and obviously I had another opportunity come across to me, and just being able to, I think that was probably one of the biggest things as well. Is, you know, we had a quick conversation over the phone, and I think just the support I got from you there, that like you would support me no matter what, I think meant a huge amount as well. So just having that level of support coming from yourself and Josh and the group, like it just gives you so much confidence going forward as well, right? To know that like you have that behind you.
What made you want to leave the military and go full-time closing?
The job was shit. Firstly, I was a Russian linguist. I worked in intelligence. It sounds way more interesting than it is. It's just sat in like a windowless room all day listening to Ruski speak.
But you speak to Russian? You speak Russian?
Yeah.
That's all we do now. Sit in a room and just speak to people.
Yeah, but I make 10 times the money, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a case of like, I always knew that I wanted more, but I just didn't quite know what that vehicle was in terms of acquiring that. The guy that got me inside my first agency program, well, you guys know Charlie Morgan, the sales manager there, Jack, his name is. I was speaking to him like halfway through it. I kind of realized the agency space wasn't for me, and he told me like, I just take sales calls and make X amount of money per month. And I was like, I want to do that.
People still don't believe it though, do they? Do you know what I mean? Like, people from the outside in will still be like, you know, because we teach about people's perspectives a lot, and it's like, you go from seeing someone in the military maybe making 20, 25, 30 grand a year to making that on like a month, and everyone just assumes scam.
It's funny because I remember like when I was doing the agency stuff, like I was in the pub with a few of the army guys, and they were just like, mate, what are you doing? It's a scam. It'll never come to anything. Like, you're just wasting your time, wasting your money. At that point, I'd spent like 8 grand, you know, on nothing. I made no fucking money from anything. But I would have much rather have spent or wasted thousands of pounds trying to change my position, rather than just sort of going through the motions for the next fucking 25 years of my life.
You stayed up until like 4 a.m. just to make sure that you fucking hit a record month, which is the difference between the people that just settle for shit in this space and the people that I know that are actually going to make it. Let me ask you this, actually. Prior to coming to us, or before you joined, was there any hesitations about joining it because you had already invested?
No. So I was the very first person inside of the program. I don't know if you boys remember, because it wasn't even built out, I don't think. Because I can't remember which one of you texted me. It was like, fuck, I can't believe he's let you in. It's not even built out yet.
Hey, speed. When you love speed, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And there was zero hesitation because I knew you boys in the space. I wasn't even thinking about, no offense, wasn't even thinking about like the sales level up. I was more sort of thinking about rubbing shoulders with you boys because I knew what sort of level you were at. And when I got inside, like, it just blew me away. It was the best stuff that I'd seen so far, and I spent over like 35 grand.
What was the key differences that you've seen or learned, I suppose, inside this that you've maybe not seen anywhere else or from where you've been?
So there were two main differences that I saw coming into STS. Number one was how much you guys actually gave a fuck about the people, coming inside.
Mate, I'm on like fucking minimum wage working here. Like the hours we work and reviews and messages, it's fucking crazy, but we love it.
Yeah, it's by far sort of the highest standard I've seen of support, but also dragging people out of dark holes because it's very easy to fall into in the space, right? But then there's also the standard of training as well. From my point of view, my takeaway, the discovery side of it, like when I came in, I realized like how substandard my discovery was. Like obviously as closers, you come in with a bit of an ego, right? Making XYZ amount of money, and then you come in here, you see that sort of level of, well, especially Kurt's calls as well. I'm like, holy shit, I'm nowhere near where I should be. So those are the two main things, just sort of the level of support, but also like the quality of the content as well. And like I've been around the rings in the high ticket space.
You've only been in this space full time since December, like you mentioned before. What were you making back then?
I just left the military, so I had zero stability in terms of income, and I got let go from a closing role inside of the program that I coached in. So it was like everything hit at once. And I remember hopping on a one-to-one with you, Kurt, and I was just so in my own head because like being in a coaching / leadership position, whatever you want to call it, not performing on a closing team in quotation marks, and then leaving and not having any income. I think I made like $3,000 in December by itself. And like as you spoke about there, it's like very easy to go, oh shit, maybe I should go back to the military. And then Josh, you set me up with sort of the VP of sales there at the company, and just immediately took off with it. What
everyone wants to know, or what I think is building up inside of you to say, how much did you end up making this month?
So this month I made $30,240.
Sweet.
Yeah, which is fucking insane.
And that's the least you've ever made, isn't it?
Oh yeah. You know what's wild? Like I was talking, my friend came around this morning, like not inside of sales, and was just chatting to him about it all, and he was like, mate, that's a fucking salary. He's like, that's a salary in a month. And like, I hadn't even sat down and thought about that, and like it's absolutely ridiculous. It still feels surreal. Like I don't think it's properly sunk in yet, to be honest.
So you went from, I think you mentioned just maybe just below 4K to obviously now just underneath 10K.
Yeah, I've been in sales for literally today a year now. So started off setting, jumped from closer to closer role, wasn't doing really too well, and then I wasn't doing too well, like I hadn't made more than like 4K in a single month. I joined STS in January, and then literally a month after that I hit more than double what I had already done previously. So I went from 3K all the way to 9K, and then just this month I almost hit the 10K. I was so damn close.
Why do you feel like that was?
I feel like the missing piece, what I didn't understand in a weird way, like what a sale was. Like I always saw a sale before joining SES as just like this question and this question and this question, and that will magically lead to a sale, right? But when I joined SES, the first thing, I just watched all your calls over and over again, and what I saw was the sale came from aligning them to the person that they needed to be in order to achieve the outcome. What that did for me is it allowed me to stop thinking in such a linear way and have a genuine conversation with someone. And the questions just came a lot easier. I wouldn't have to worry about what do I need to ask it. I would just understand what it is that needs to change in them and just be direct with it. So that's when things started getting a whole lot easier.
Why do you feel like my calls actually helped though? Like just the basis of being able to understand, I suppose in your own words.
When things aren't going too well, like naturally the same way as our prospects, it's easy to externalize, right? So seeing you just do it with different types of prospects, just consistently doing that all the time, we're just like, yo, this is maths. Like I just need to figure out what he's doing, right? Understand the principles behind that, and then there's no excuses at all. So it gave me just like complete clarity on exactly what I needed to do, so I could just reverse engineer that.
Why didn't you hesitate because if maybe you've had a bad experience in the past of investing and it didn't work out in the way you wanted it to, why did you decide to just go forward with it anyway, knowing the case of just being a bad experience again?
So watching your calls on YouTube, the one with what was it Ralph? I think it was Ralph. Yeah. I was like, nah, this is I haven't seen anyone like not even close, just like speak to someone like this in a sales context.
Well, it still blows my mind every day. Like I'm watching his calls thinking, what the hell?
So I was like, not only is it like some next level stuff, a lot of it I didn't understand. I'm quite big headed as well. So like I'll think I know everything, right? So then watching the call and not understanding what was going on, I was just like, what? There's something I need to know here. But then like the cherry on top was that I could tell that this wasn't a persona. Like you were just being yourself. And that was something I really wanted to do on my sales calls, but didn't know how. So seeing you do that and then jumping into SDS and you're exactly the same person, it wasn't just, you know, this second closer cut persona. I was like, okay, this is actually, you know, a lifestyle. And I feel like...
What did you feel like was missing in the other groups that you got here?
One thing I tell everyone is that like the support you get in STS is way like undervalued. Like you should be charging people way more for what you do. Cause like
Cat has unlimited belief.
Yeah, it's like we hop into these calls, you guys are checking on like every single person. So I feel like that attention to detail goes a long way. Because if I had come in and like naturally, you know, I am someone who asks questions when I need to, but like you guys just didn't. You guys don't let anyone come in and not like literally set the standards higher for themselves. So it's one thing to have like the theory and the knowledge there. It's another thing to actually have that accountability to make sure that we're all getting to where we need to go.
Do you mind if we share one of your calls in terms of like what you've learned and implemented from the group?
Yeah.
So the context is she comes in with pretty bad language. She's a bit of a complainer, and it's just a case of just reframing her perspective so she can.
Exactly that.
So I mean, that's a great deal of fear, isn't it?
100%. That's like what I was gonna like pick up on, right? Because like, do you believe that there have been people in your situation that maybe haven't had like the most access to funds that have still been able to find a way to make things work?
Oh, absolutely.
Why do you use that?
I guess it would be showing that it's possible in the first place.
You know? Yeah. Because it's like once she accepts that, do you believe other people have X? Yes. So at that point, you know that she knows and you know, like it's pretty clear that her excuse is bullshit. This is just, she's focusing on what she can't do instead of what she can do.
I absolutely know that real estate works.
Right. So like the reason
my challenge is absolutely me. I don't know how to get it to work for me.
Right. That's the thing, right? Because if there are people in your situation that have done it before, because like if we look at it that way, everyone having a different route to success, it would make that success rate of entrepreneurship even way lower than it is now.
Right, but you become successful by modeling people that have done it.
Exactly. So that's what I was about to say. It's like the success rate doesn't matter, right? What matters is the inputs we put in and the outputs from them. So like if all it takes is getting the answers needed to be able to put ourselves in the position that other people have gone to, all it takes is getting those questions answered. Now I understand this in your situation, maybe you didn't have access to the people with those answers, but at least from what you told me, right? It's like you've had varying different types of answers, right? And it can be a bit confusing when you get that. And I know in your situation, it was mainly just like the thing that stopped you from, I guess, trying some of those was that uncertainty, that word you used, fear of where does that put me if things don't work out, right? Would that be fair to say?
I think that's fair to say.
And like I've been noticing the way you talk about yourself, the way you talk about your situation.
Oh, that was good. That was really good.
Because she was all like, oh, I don't have a degree, I'm not as smart as these people, it's been super tough. She was like putting herself down a lot.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's just not going to serve you, you know?
That's fuck. See, this is where people go missing. It's like, listen to what words they're using, they choose to use to where they want to go. Listen to the way that they speak to themselves. Is that going to help them?
You need to change the way you see yourself. You need to change your relationship with fear in order to be able to change the situation.
Change your relationship with fear. Holy fuck. It sends shivers down my spine.
Right? Because at the end of the day, let's look at what the things you have done, right? Even though you're not exactly where you want to be, you are a very hard worker, right?
My hope, my guess is that it will fundamentally change me and my relationship probably to money and success, and won't quite have the fear and probably be better successful at anything I take on.
That's what will happen. Right? I can tell you that for a certainty. Because what fear really is our desire to stay comfortable, right? Because even though you don't like the situation you're in now, the scarier thing for you is throwing yourself into the unknown and not knowing what's going to happen. But that's something that you've known for what seems like decades now. Is that something you are still willing to accept for yourself? I know you mentioned you want to help out your kids and the lifestyle that you want to live. So like the way you're living now, is that still something that you're willing to accept?
No, I think no.
You think no?
Holy
I
fuck.
was waiting for that.
I think no. No, it's not. It has to change.
Like when you see yourself as successful, like what do you see?
I think just in my head, it's being able to do what I want to do.
Yeah, and then we just go off into future base, but
That was
cooking.
That was. I'm not even joking. That's super savage. Like that's real fucking savage. He's not even bullshitting you when you've got the skills to make way more than fucking 10, 20, 50.
Bro, you're underselling yourself, honestly. Like, take my advice, jump on an offer, even if you may not want to be on it, and I guarantee you'll do 20k this month, at least.
I know that we've been in the industry together for a bit because how did we first meet?
Yeah, I was your setter.
That's so savage though. You were really, but I think you always wanted to transition into closing as well, though, didn't you?
Yeah, that's kind of why, like, as soon as you brought out that the group, like, set the standards, like, I was fully bought in. Like, I literally said, like, how do I join? Was because even before that became a thing, like, I remember we used to work on that account and, like, you'd be sending me recordings. I never told you before, so it's probably your first time hearing it, but when I was learning closing on the side as well as, like, setting, I had, like, your call recordings on, like, a Google Doc, and I'd watch those, like, over and over and over again.
What did you find the most helpful when you came into the group?
Probably seeing how you and Josh execute on things. So, like, even watching the call recordings, just more of the same, like watching call recordings, but going to, like, the coaching calls and, like, yes, asking questions is good, but just seeing how you execute in certain parts of the call, like, in terms of, like, process. One of the biggest things for me when I started closing was I followed a process, like I followed a script to a T, and I just tried to, like, beat people with objection handling, which is, like, what some other people tend to do. That's okay, but it didn't really work for me, and I never really, like, understood word tracks either. Like, I'd write down word tracks, I try learn them, but, like, I never really understand it, and because I never understood it, it didn't come across well on the call, and the prospect knew I was just trying to, like, trick them in a way, if you know what I mean. But the feedback, like, actually you checking in on us, you and Josh as well, like, every call, that helped a lot. And then watching the recordings, the materials every day in the group helped me the most.
Why did you even bother investing again? Why did you even bother thinking? Because most people will tell themselves, like, I don't need any more skills, like, I don't need to invest, I don't need more training, I just need the right offer. Why didn't you tell yourself that?
I think the easiest thing I could have done was just lie to myself and keep making, like, 4K as a closer. Thing for me got to a stage, like, especially with my son being born, like, he was on the way before I joined the program as well. Like, I didn't have time to just keep lying to myself. I just had to be honest. Like, I have to learn from people that are better than me, and you and I know each other from even before the program came out. So, like, as soon as I seen something like this program come out, like, I was one of the first to join because I knew, like, I already studied your call recordings, and we worked together before, and we worked well, so I knew it was a good fit.
I made a post about you on Instagram because that actually meant a lot to me. Like, I don't think you understand. When you sent me that text, like, I was pacing up and down the living room, like, I was proper buzzing for you. In that month, like, you were making 3 to 4K a month before it. Then obviously you learned from the group. What did you make in the month that your son was born?
I think it was like 11K, 11.2.
Is it 11.2?
Yeah.
And is that a record month for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then your son was born as well?
Yeah, on the 31st of January at like 4 in the morning.
I think we want to watch one of your calls. Give us some context between this call.
I just really liked how calm I was, like in, let's say, the objection handling part of the call. For context, like the setter, he was a bit newer. He didn't really like filter the lead out fully, so to say. So he actually thought this didn't even cost money. And I downsold him into like a 1,500 package. So again, just a good example of being calm, just like actually wanting the best for the prospect, because like regardless if it's free or not, like he still needs help to get out of a situation to go to somewhere better. And always having that in the back of your mind, not just fucking making commission. If you can do it that way, like, trust me, you get paid regardless and you actually help someone.
I think a lot of people will associate me from being from Bill, right?
Yeah.
So what do you feel like the difference is here? Not even just in relation to that, like that alone, that example alone, like what is the difference that you see here?
I mean, looking at objection handling, if you do have to get to that point, I mean, a lot of that shit should just be like knocked out in the discovery and like eliminated, more or less. And objection, if you do have to objection handle, it's more or less just a second discovery, looking at it as like that piece. You know, it's not just like following your word tracks and something like that. You should have like built enough credibility and urgency, so to speak, and just identity shifting for some of these people, and really just seeing if they are actually ready for like a change from the questions you ask them. Because like if you're not ready for a change, like cool, like I'm not actually going to even allow you to be in this program. So yeah, so like I think just less word tracks, really listening to what the person is saying and not necessarily even following. I mean, yes, a framework is good, but also it's okay to like go off the framework based on just what they're actually giving you on the call.
Yeah. What made you join then, even though you've been in other programs?
I mean, I saw like, I mean, I've seen some of your calls from being in Bill and like in that sense. And like, I think just having that level of certainty, but also challenge, I mean, the way you would get people to like just shift their beliefs in a very intelligent fashion, you know, and I mean, it's like, again, this is not like to bash obviously Bill or anybody, but I just felt that it was more like word tracky, so to speak.
If one specific thing come to mind, a challenge that you faced prior to signing up compared to being able to deal with it now, what would you say that one thing is that would stand out the most?
I think honestly just like making shit actually like flow throughout the conversation without having to be like, okay, I need to check off this or check off this. Well, I think there is some benefit to obviously knowing where you are, keeping the frame in a call and making sure you're moving it along. I think really listening to what they're saying for like certain keywords, like, I mean, that somebody probably has had in their mind or has been on their mind for years and years and years and years, that isn't really necessarily doing them any good in terms of like getting them actually out of their own way and towards what they say they want.
I know a lot of people shy away from posting calls and stuff, especially people at Teacher. Did you find those helpful, the ability to be able to watch my calls and the implementation that I put in?
Oh yeah, like just like the breakdown and just again hearing also like how you ask it. You're actually like taking the time to like respond, and again, it doesn't sound like it's scripted, like it's even though you might already like know what to say as like moving the conversation forward, it's not like rushed. There's a skill to being able to do that without it sounding just like you're moving on to the next thing.
I wanted to share something quick from Big Dave. This is important because this is how you know when you're having good conversations with prospects, to the point where they're not giving you objections, or to the point where they actually feel like you're there to fucking help. And that's the whole point of how a sales call should be. Like, your intent should never be to just slap the person because you feel like you've got some sort of frame or leverage on them because you've got all these pain points. That shouldn't be the idea of it. It should be to help this person understand where they're at and actually get them out their own way. Because the minute you start to understand that in sales is the minute you make way more fucking money. So here's just an example of like Dave having a truthful and direct enough of a conversation for this guy to get out of his own way.
Was this helpful for you, like this call and stuff?
Yeah, dude. Hey, you were great, bro. For real.
Okay.
Like, for sure, you were great, bro.
Okay.
Like, really got really, like, made me think about shit, like, on a deeper level, honestly. Like what I really want, if I'm really, like, ready for it. You know what I mean? Like, you did great, bro.
It's like, why? The last thing I would want to do is like bring somebody in and they're not like really ready.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm sure that happens a lot, dude. But like,
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure a lot of people. You know what I mean? Because I've done it myself, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll fucking I'll get back to you, and like they never do. But like, yeah, I'm definitely 100%.
So this is so fucking good, right? Because if you wouldn't have had a conversation like this with this guy, because this has happened to me before as well. Like a lot, because this guy's probably been on a call before, and somebody's just let him off. Somebody's kind of let him down, like Josh says. Somebody in the past has let this guy down, and because you were able to have enough of a conversation and have the truthful conversation, like you got him out of his own fucking way. So that's world class, and that's the kind of conversations that everyone should be having, not letting these motherfuckers down and actually helping these people get out of their own fucking way.